Hello everyone, welcome to the energy tips for June 24th till 28th, one of our out of the normal rhythm energy tips here from me for you, Heart Warriors and Patreon subscribers. This is really an extraordinary time, and I want to take a deeper look into these physical, emotional, mental, social, collective, obviously, spiritual and energetic aspects with you here. And I want to confirm for you that what you are experiencing right now, so many of you have already been reporting about this in our online meditations, in the Skype discussion groups that we have about collective energies. There is like a time compression going on, like it feels like a Groundhog Day. Time feels surreal, and this is something that I want you to understand. It has to do with the overall cosmic, planetary, collective energies, however you want to name them. It has to do with this macrocosmic view that I introduced to you last time. And all of this is really triggering many different aspects here within our own self. And it's really the bottom line is to not take everything so personal. Okay, those are things that are coming with this extraordinary transformation that we are in, this shift, social, economical, and consciousness shift from one era to the next. And we will have to deal with this here for the next 6 months at least, as far as this repeat, this groundhog component is concerned. There's many different time capsules that are completing and that are, starting new. It's inception time right now. And the best tip I can give you is to harmonize. And we're going to look into this, how this can happen here on these different levels of your existence, with your body, with your emotions, with, what is going on in your mind, with your money, with your relationships, with your inner relationship with truth and your true self, and also how you can apply your energetic training that many of you have been, working for all these decades, right? But it is as I have predicted here for these many years in the past, that we are at the beginnings of observing this bifurcation, this split in humanity, how one part of the population perceives this as an apocalypse, as a doom and gloom, and the other part experiences this as a liberation, as a step forward into freedom, into personal freedom, into spiritual freedom, also into financial freedom. And the ratio is, as we have been observing all these years, not much different. It's like 9 to 1. 10% of us are seeing fortune in all of this, and the 90% are seeing uncertainty and, an anxious future. And so we need to learn that, all these things here that are currently being triggered, that we are not in control of all of them, but once we educate ourselves on them, we can better witness them. We can go into this more mature, more witnesser stance here, where we can see, oh, okay, today this is what the energy feels like, and it's triggering a lot of stuff in me, and all I really need to do is to harmonize with it, to refrain from going into sympathy with it, identifying with it, or going into this this dislike, this trying to resist and reject it and fight against it. Because as soon as I do that, I'm energizing it again. So this is the time really where all of you energetic self-masters can test your own abilities, because most of what you're experiencing really isn't your own. However, I hope that you have learned from these past years, there are things that we can choose, and the more we become aware of what we're choosing, the more we can become aware of, how we're letting things in, and how We are energizing sort of our unresolved, immature inner child perspective with this. So you're gonna have to really take this step back here into your center, with all these mindfulness, with all these meditation and heart breathing, I am breathing techniques, and center yourself over and over again. This will be your reality here for these next years. But there's nothing really bad about it if you let go of the resistance, if you let go of the dislike towards it. I mean, open your mind, open your heart, open, yourself to this new era that is approaching here, because you were part of the group that suffered the most from the past, how things were in the past, the untruths and the collective gaslighting and, this questioning yourself. So this is really the call for you to come out of the woodwork, to stop hiding, to stop resisting, isolating yourself, because all these things such as depression, loneliness, fear, anxiety, they are now part of this overall collective influence. So if you don't want to be swept away by this storm, okay, because this is really what you can call this energetic storm of accumulative challenges of planetary, economically, health-wise, emotionally, mentally, relationship-wise, financially, all right, then you're not going to be able to get through this as you've envisioned it. So it's very, very important right now that you don't lose track of your vision of yourself, of your future. Okay, you have a future, your future does exist, and the quality of how you're going to perceive this, how you're going to deal with this, is determined right now. Remember, all places are here, all times are now. So let's look at how we can deal with these collective aspects and how we can move into a more mature stance, how we can enter the self-discovery here through crisis, all right, and see all that most people see as lack as fortune, and find the higher expression through all of this and embrace it. So collectively, guys, this is battle time now, okay? This is literally, inner and outer battle, and you're going to have to just simply accept that. Now, I want to point out here that harmonizing with things and accepting things is not the same as sucking up, all right? So there's a big confusion here for many of you when it comes to dealing with things, okay? Because what you call dealing is actually coping, and coping is not dealing. Coping is just getting better at sucking up, or making it go away, or checking out, or distracting yourself. So that part is in your hands. That part is your self-responsibility, all right, to stay awake. You cannot make conscious decisions if you fight, flight, or freeze. And this is then also, what makes this time so difficult, because all these cosmic energies, these, planetary influences, the frequency of the light, the sunlight changing, the Earth's angles changing, the Earth's mantle changing, the Earth's frequency changing, right? All that has an effect on our body, because our body needs to adjust to it. And as it is the most solid, the most dense part of us, it will take the longest. All right, so yes, you have to take care, really, really good care of your body right now, so that it is able to deal with these changes, these frequency changes, on a molecular level. That is the reality of things, and Corona is just one of these aspects, guys. All right, we're going to have to live with the fact that we're going to have pandemics from here on as a result of our lifestyle, until we go through this transition, and we're going to get used to it. Watch yourself, you're going to get used to it. So there's no reason to believe that this is the end of everything. This is, again, here your inner child perspective that it makes everything, about all or nothing, that immediately triggers this survival response in you. And that's the part here that is challenging. There's absolutely no doubt. Your nervous system is being triggered. We're being triggered on a cellular, biochemical level that also influences our DNA. And the goal of all of this, all right, is the positive maturation, the increase in our capacity, our ability to hold all these faster vibratory rates, to be able to embody these higher expressions on all levels. All right, so remember this when you hear me talk about, the things that are to come, because they are just part of this transition here going through 7 to 8 billion people. All right, so battle is the theme here. This is a very strong theme, especially for the next 3-4 months. So we need a strategy for this. We're going to be dealing with Earth changes, with the extreme weather and earthquakes. So I've predicted these earthquakes, and they're happening now. All right, and for those of you who were a little sad that we couldn't do the yearly retreat in Iceland this year, we would have been able to a degree to technically do it, but the energies weren't really good for this. So just a heads up here in regards to the winter solstice retreat in Iceland with northern lights and so forth. This is still not carved in stone, so that's why I've motivated you guys to distance yourself a little bit from it. Okay, I don't know for sure when it will be that we can come together in person the next time. Latest next summer solstice, because the energies there are much better for that event. But anyway, coming back to collective energies, what we will see here on our societal, on our social level, is this confrontation with untruth that weaves through all these different layers of our societies in all countries, guys. There is no difference. Yes, here in the United States, we have a unique situation. The United States is kind of like aligned to this transformation, and will therefore also get sort of the worst of it in that transition. And we have political systems right now that are very shaky. So yes, there's this unraveling of truth on all these levels, and lies and conspiracies and illusions, unspeakable taboos that will be broken in these next 3-4 months, guys. And this again here will repeat this theme until January. So Groundhog Day is going to be on until January if you cannot master to stay in the moment, to ground yourself in the moment. Now, there are some developments here, again, that carry both, the advancement, but also the dangers of progress in the technological level. And we are heading into an era here, this information age, where it will be inevitable, to deal with things such as global Wi-Fi networks, 5G and so forth, but also social tracing, digital ID. These things will all come, guys, and a reset of our financial system is also imminent. This is just in the progression of things and how technology is responding to it. So everything is already on its course. It's all being rolled out. This isn't just me making predictions, guys. I really want you to understand this. There is a very, very clear agenda here towards digital ID, towards, right now under the cover of contact tracing. But really, blockchain as a technology is no longer stoppable. What we here as crypto fans had to face in these last years was the denial and the untruth, where all the big institutions said, oh no, blockchain and cryptocurrency is all bad, knowing that this is all fake, all right? That under the covers, they are working on patents, they're working on rolling out sort of a dollar 2.0 national currencies based on blockchain. And so this is no longer really a secret tip here. Those of you who have been in the crypto scene for the last 3, 4, 5 years, you understand what I'm talking about. Now, those of you who still feel that this is all too shaky, I just ignore the overview that I want to give you here real quick. But people have asked me where this is all headed with Bitcoin and so forth, and what to do and where to start. There are different aspects to cryptocurrencies. Our phones will more and more become our hardware wallet. So what we needed to use years ago, the hardware wallets for safe storage, might outdate itself here with the new technology that is being rolled out with our phones here over the next year. But many of us still have hardware wallets. I do. And it's the question what we're going to do with this. If you have cryptos currently on your hardware wallet and they are like sort of penny stocks type of cryptos, shit coins as we call them in crypto lingo, I'd say, keep them there if you can't find one of the big trading and wallet systems that can hold them. All right, just go with the updates regularly. You're going to have to stay on top of that if you're speculating. So if you're not speculating with cryptos and you just want to hedge the coming sort of economical cycles, are currently in a deflation, in a depression that's already declared, heading to it's a global depression and a financial reset. So if you just want to hedge that, and especially the hyperinflation that will come with this in about a year, and you have to really look at the markets right now if you have a lot of money and you need to find a safe haven, then you can do three things. And I'm not a financial advisor, so don't believe any word I say. Do your research and verify all of this, but you're probably best off to go into dollars, because as all the other currencies, the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, South American currencies, they're already in this hyperinflationary state. You can watch it happen there right now. Euro will follow and so forth. So, as the world currency in the past, the dollar was the safe haven, and it will no longer be that. But for the transition, it's probably your best bet. All right. Stock market, Wall Street is not advisable. There is a very sick sort of misrepresentation of the global economy on Wall Street. So this is already a complete illusion there. So if you have retirement funds and things that are being handled through other banking institutions, financial institutions, you got to be very, very careful here and pay attention. Precious metals, as always, any financial advisor will tell you that it's best to invest in undervalued commodities. They are advisable. They're hard to get in the physical if you don't already have gold and silver. It's still good time right now, but you might have to resort to, the paper version of it. That's still be better than Wall Street. Cryptocurrencies is still in the making here. Ethereum 2.0. It looks like it's going to be the train tracks for those digital national currencies. So there is a safe bet there, and we've had a few contenders in the past, such as Ripple, and some other cryptocurrencies that are not really currencies, as you know. They have a use that will probably be up there. So the crypto integrity testing that we've done for a couple of years way back is still valid, guys. If you want to get a bit more info about specific companies, understand that these crypto, what they call currencies, for the most part, really are new technologies. Those are new companies emerging, and those that we've tested in the above truth region are all going to be part of this. That's sort of my assessment here as of right now. As far as hedging is concerned, Bitcoin is definitely a part of it, but it's very volatile and currently tied to Wall Street. Ethereum, because it actually has a use, is probably the safer bet right now if you need to get rid of large amounts of money. Okay, but in general, with the influx of trillions of dollars into crypto over the next 2-3 years, unless you invest in shitcoins, where it's a hit or miss, it's 98% are not going to make it. It's a safe way of hedging, the financial collapse, the collapse of the dollar. But again, here, don't listen to any of my rambling. If you would like to verify this, I would strongly advise you right now to go on YouTube and find people who have a good overview, a good macroscopic overview. The question as to what wallets to use for trading, for getting started, say I have the same opinion as I had 3 years ago. Go with the ones that are acknowledged, that are operating based on, sort of the most accepted banking, according to the banking rules. I mean, this isn't that you can trust that, but it means that you have a lobby there, and that would be Coinbase here in the United States. PayPal finally announced their intention to roll out a crypto wallet and trading capability, as I predicted 3-4 years ago, guys. So you can just sit there and wait, because they're going to have interest in you doing that. So they're going to come out with more of these wallets. All your big banks, the ones that will survive it, will have these options. So these children's diseases in the crypto market that we've experienced here in these past years, they're going to be over soon. Okay, so you have to have a check on integrity. Also, if you live in the United States, check if your banks are FDIC insured and things like that. All right, so you got to stay awake. Okay. Other than that, when people ask me what to invest in to get rid of their money, commercial real estate is dead. Residential real estate will follow. Commercial real estate, after the collapse, you can buy cheap commercial real estate. This will be used for homeless shelters and cheap housing in the future. So if you can sit on it for a couple of years, you can make really big profits there as well. But again, you have to really stay on it. You have to be in the now. You got to watch this. My best bet is to invest in new technologies and new businesses that are evolving right now around the future needs of people. So we're going to be looking at, and don't, be scared of this, disruptions of supply chains. I've been talking about this for a long time in regards to food and energy, and we need to look at what do people, like the mainstream people, what will they need? And I've mentioned this before, so I'll keep bombarding you with this, because I really want this to hammer into your brain. Indoor food production, urban farming, aeroponics, aquaponics. It will change our architecture, guys. It will literally change our lifestyle. You're going to see this happening. The same with new technology in regards to energy storage, batteries, and so forth. The usage of renewable energies. And all businesses that help people to become self-sufficient and self-reliable. All right. Obviously, also for the next years, cleaning businesses, air filter businesses, and so forth. But my biggest bet is indoor plant growth. Okay, light bulbs have developed so wonderfully in these last 5 years that we can have full spectrum light indoors and so forth. I'm not talking about chop wood, carry water. We'll always have internet and electricity, maybe with a few interruptions, as we've seen here in the last week or two. But the powers to be are way too interested in us to, to have access to that. So that's not your biggest concern. Your biggest concern right now should be, whom do I want to live with? What is your social bubble? Whom do I want to go through with this? And if you're in a toxic relationships and if things haven't really worked out that well in the past, it's unlikely that they're going to work out better when things get tough. As far as your business ideas is concerned, this is the time, guys. And anyone here who has trained themselves in remote service of any kind, all right, you crisis resistant, all right. So this is the way to go, all right. And offering service to people, healing service, mental health service, remote, telehealth, as we call this, social services, but even gaming services, all right. These are all really, really big subjects in the future. Okay, so understand that crisis triggers self-discovery, triggers healing, triggers the improvement of things. So you don't need to be worried about this. Just understand that right now is this adaptation time. And, if we don't change our mindset and see that this is a new time, all right, if we hang on to our old mindset, be it in regards to retirement, be it in regards to finances, and in regards to relationships, and to how you deal with yourself, how you deal with your health, it's going to be tough for you. So be flexible, all right? Chakra-wise here for these coming days, first chakra, this is going to be a theme here for the next 6 months, really. First chakra is the karmic aspect of this, so it really shows the magnitude of this transition, and also the questions that are being raised with it. Who am I? What am I here for? Okay, so that's why mastering your thoughts and your emotions is so instrumental, because you have to be able to answer this with your consciousness, and if you are coping, you're not aware. And when you're not aware, you're not tapped into your consciousness, you're tapped into your nervous system that is just responding to all these outer triggers, okay? So second chakra here in particular, and third chakra. So second chakra is your emotional processing. This is your inner child perspective right now. All the unresolved, repressed stuff is coming forward. A lot of people feeling lonely, isolated, and so forth. So these things all need to be mastered. Third chakra being the part of your will and your ego power, really, which unfortunately also energizes the inner child and the likes and the dislikes. This needs to be harmonized, as well as the fifth and sixth chakra, which is you being able to see truth and speak truth and bring this into expression, all right, on all these levels previously discussed. So I would suggest that you just remember harmonize, and remember that it's not personal, and go into your heart and reset as many times as you can. This is about disrupting, this response in you, okay? Not disrupting things or in the sense that you have to attack it, but disrupting your inner responses. Take a step back and witness it instead. All right. So how does this reflect physically? Again, sunlight is of utmost importance, as well as water. So hydration really came forward here in the solstice energies. This is very important that you understand that Your biochemistry, your metabolism has a lot to do with its fluidity and also the quality of water, especially the energy of water. And I'm going to talk a little more about this in the future here, how you can program your water, but it's really an important carrier of information. And you can literally, help yourself, not just by drinking more water, but also by blessing your water, by infusing it with energies that are conducive for you. All right, so this sunlight shift that I mentioned earlier, where we're shifting more towards blue light, it's a different frequency, has an effect on our DNA, has an effect on the synthesis of, in our skin, that is, after all, the membrane between our physical 3D and our ethereal 3D, right? So, if you will, this is all now about harmonizing with these extremes that are clashing, within and with your environment. So stick with getting as much sunlight as you can, obviously not to the degree that you are increasing your skin cancer receptibility, but be with the sun, and get yourself maybe some filters, get yourself some good shades, and understand that your body really needs this harmony with nature right now. Go out into the woods, onto the beach as much as you can, and maybe seek practitioners that do things such as acupuncture or reflexology that can really help your nervous system right now, okay? Because everything is systemic right now, is structural right now. Emotionally, this inner child perspective that I mentioned earlier that keeps on getting triggered, guys, can only be disrupted through going into this witnessing stance in you, through going into your parent perspective. You have to literally see your emotions and even your mind, your whole entire sort of ego setup as the little 3-4-year-old that is throwing a tantrum, and you have to move out of that perspective because you're not making good choices. It pulls you into your shadow, it pulls you into your own darkness. All right, and the only way to see that it's not personal, and that is something that is just part of the deal, is to go into this parent perspective. So ask yourself, what is this emotion really doing here? What is it for? Is it of any use? What does it energize? All right, and if it's not conducive, then you need to disrupt it. This is very important for your inner integrity and for your ability to trust in yourself. All right, because without this step, you cannot disrupt these old patterns. They're too deep, guys. This is your nervous system. All right, mentally, the same thing. When you entertain thoughts that are self-destructive, self-sabotaging, self-defeating, or simply negative, like as an apocalyptic or doomish or gloomish, reconfirming, your pessimism, all right, then you need to be able to catch that and understand that the reason why you have so much trouble with silencing your mind is because you keep feeding the inner conflict. What is conflict? Okay, yes, crisis triggers questions, and questions lead you to your consciousness. But if you loop around and answer these questions with opinions and emotionalized views, okay, that do nothing but feeding your resistance, your dislikes, okay, and also your likes, all right, which are most likely coming from your past, namely what brought you comfort, what soothed you, what brought you short-term gratifications. And this is how you then end up in the same patterns of thinking, in this endless churning, tormenting of your mind, and repeating behavior patterns, because they are all based on your physical, emotional, and mental interpretation. So without this disruption and this resetting and this harmonizing that I mentioned here several times now, you're not going to be able to break through your mind's conflictions. All right, so you're going to have to question your thoughts as well. You have to ask yourself, is this thought useful? And if so, how does it behave? Where does it lead me? What does it energize? This is particularly important in our social, with our relationships and at work and so forth. Because right now it's all about refraining from allowing past patterns. They will keep us in the past. They will not support us, to find our fortune here in this crisis. All right, they will pull us back. So in order to get this clarity about your own projections, all right, and behaviors and how this is linked to your past or to the now, you need to act like a parent. You need to act like not a patronizing parent or superior, but you really have to call yourself to order, to discipline. Right now is the time to discipline yourself. There is so much excess energy right now that you can start building a whole new empire for yourself. Okay, not just a kingdom. You can really create so much new right now if you are willing to let go of your old patterns. This is the time to position yourself, guys, whether it's your relationship, where you live, whom you live with, what your job is, what your business is, your way of making money. Make a strategy, make a plan. You have 3 months right now where, there's a window in the midst of all this outer battle, right? You can now determine your future, all right? So spiritually, I know these questions that are triggered by this, an outer crisis. Yes, they are hard to answer if you don't have a relationship with your true self, if you don't have some kind of spiritual connection. And it's so important right now that we don't go into fanaticism, and sign up for like a particular belief or agenda or dogma. It's okay to tune into praying and blessing things and so forth, but do it for the right reason, not to energize any kind of externalized version of authority. Remember that you are the authority of your own consciousness due to the power of divine consciousness flowing through you. Life is not happening to you, life is happening through you, guys. So understand that this talk about inner peace isn't woo-woo at all. This is about sanity. And spiritual connection helps to find that. Because through tuning into your consciousness, you can discover yourself, your authority, your power, and your medicine, your essence. Harmonizing with those inner opinions about, whomever you think is God or whether or not God exists, okay, is essential right now. Because you're being pulled into your higher self, into the higher expression of your human ego self, all right? And this requires you to have a larger view, to see the larger context. Without context, you're going to get stuck in content. And the content is delivered by your body, by your emotions, and by your ego mind. So that's your choice, guys. This is, what inner peace can get you, namely the spiritual freedom to recognize that all this is sacred, that your existence is sacred. Your consciousness is sacred, guys. This isn't just like a spiritual specialness thing. This is the real deal, guys. We are asked to wake up and grow into our higher self now and start to embody this here in 3D. This is why we are all here. Energetically right now, I suggest that you guys, understand that these karmic components that I've mentioned here that will weave through the next 6 months, this first chakra, who am I? Where do I belong? Why am I here? That you deal with this really with a clear attitude, with an inventory, You know, what are my unresolved things? What do I have to work on to resolve? You know, what is holding me back? What people are holding me back? What mindsets are holding me back? What spiritual beliefs are holding me back? Guys, fantasizing, you know, the waterfalls and the unicorns are not going to get you anywhere. That's fake positivity. That's the dead end of New Age, you know, driving people into collective toxic passivity. If we just all hold hands and sing kumbaya, everything is fine. No, this doesn't mean that love isn't the answer. Love and light are the answer. But we have to find it within ourselves. And as you know, our higher self is like the statue, like the sculpture that is inside of us. Right now, we are still immature. We're like a granite block. But you are the sculpture and the sculptor in one person. And all you got to do is chip away all this overlay. And it's a constant chipping, guys. It's a constant resetting, a constant disruption of these old structures in and around you. So I'm wishing you lots of fortune. I hope that you can tune into this really intense energy that is coming in here in these next days with a clear compass that can show you whether things are conducive for you or not. When you go into your inner child and when you need to be your inner parent, and how to re-record those tapes that are running in the back of your mind with more mature inner dialogue. Love you guys. Thank you for your support. Please share this information. I'm going to make these energy tips public. All right. Tell people about those perspectives. Discuss it with them. You don't have to convince them of anything. Let them verify it themselves. And let's continue to build a community here where we can share and where we can heal together. Those of you who would like to know more about cryptocurrencies, please join our Skype crypto group. And those of you who would like to be informed more about ongoing energies, you know, join the current energies thread on Skype. I'm going to add the links here in the description. And those of you who want to get a bit more of a personal view or reading on this, on Saturday, the 27th, we have the energetic tune-up for July 2020. So this is your opportunity to tune into the energies for the next months, for the next 4 to 6 weeks yourself, and also get a personal reading from me right afterwards, live. That's part of this session. Thank you for your attention and for your support. See you soon. Bye-bye.